actually get started in relation to this and make the change. And it is about change management, it's implementation of technology, but it's about people.
A lot of lawyers have said to me, well, this makes us redundant. I mean, very far from makes lawyers redundant, it'll make lawyers much more necessary.
And the IBM definition of automation is using technology to minimise human input. Technology will allow them to spend more time doing the client relationships and the stuff they actually went to law school to do.
If you've got one law firm that is innovative, they're using automation, they're exciting to work with, and one law firm that says, no, I'm not going to do that because it can reduce my billable hour, you're going to choose the particular one on the left, aren't you? So you've got to think about staying competitive.
For me, the big thing is about opportunity. I think there's lots of opportunity out there. We shouldn't be fearful of what's going on. Instead, we should be embracing change.
Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the Legal Tech Conference pre-event live stream. We're live on Hey Legal YouTube. Hello if you're also watching this later on Catch Up. I'm Ali Thompson from Hey Legal, and we're again co-creating the Legal Tech Conference with the Law Society of Scotland this year, and I'm delighted to be joined by one of the participants and sponsors of the conference, Grant Yule of Novo. Grant, how are you doing?
Very good, Ali. Good to be back involved in the tech conference this year. Glad to be here with you for this live stream as well.
Yeah, brilliant. We're trying to do innovative things as ever. So an attempt just to set things up, let people know what's involved in the conference, involve everyone that's going to be taking part and all of that. So how are things in Novo?
Yeah, it's been since the conference last year, it's been a pretty busy year. A lot of time spent collaborating with the law firms that we partner with and work with up and down the country. You know, that's been a big focus of us. You know, we've been heavily involved in kind of visiting firms in their own environments to support them, educate them on maximising the use of our software. It was a topic that came up time and time again from last year about, you know, really not maximising the true power of any of the technology really that exists and is available to firms. So the result that we've had from that has really been fantastic. So many firms now reaping the benefits of, like I say, the software's kind of true power. It's kind of moving away from that. Yeah, we're going to use maybe 10, 15% of the technology from our point of view, case management software. Really starting to move towards, right, how can we really maximise what this system can do for us? You know, particularly around the likes of automation, and then taking that time and then kind of enjoying the efficiency that it then brings. And you know, one of the comments in the video that we just saw at the beginning there was about trying to almost redistribute your time, and that's been a really you know, recurring theme and almost language shift that we've seen, and particularly that we've used. And it was mentioned in that video about, you know, being able to spend a bit more time with clients on client care, around spending more time developing your team, potentially things like marketing strategies, which often get pushed to one side because we're kind of being busy. And a lot of that is around these repetitive administrative tasks. So we've been working really hard with firms to try and get to the bottom of how we're not trying to save you time, because I genuinely think that doesn't exist. You could almost get laughed out the room because you know, but if we can redistribute it in some way, so that's been you know, a lot of what we've been spending our time doing over the past year or so.
Okay, brilliant. Well, all sounds good. We're going to hear more about that in the time that we've got. So you're joining me for the first half, and we've got some other guests and sponsors dropping in. So great. So what's the aim of today? Well, the aim of today is to let the watching audience know what's involved in the conference, who it's for, how to get involved, and to let you know more about the speakers, hear from the sponsors and all of that type of stuff. So in true Hey Legal fashion, the format here is informal, conversational, and hopefully informative. So let's get started. So Grant, you were at the event last year, Legal Tech Conference. Who would you say it is for?
Yeah, we've been there for the past few years, actually. It really I think the event itself really stands out as like the prime opportunity to engage. And I mean that not from the point of view of a provider who's selling a software platform. I'm talking about just in the entire Scottish legal community. I think it's a real chance to kind of dive in to the latest developments, be that legal practice management software, AI, and everything in between. And I believe that and the importance around those discussions and how important it is for us to just talk. So you're bringing together what I've seen anyway, a really diverse group of delegates, from various types of firms, and it's something we don't really get the chance to do that often. So you've got everyone from decision makers to trainees, assistants, sole practitioners, and everything else in between. So I think we're all in a really privileged position to have the opportunity to come together like that for one day and really have a conversation about the realities of using technology in our industry. So that's, those are the types of people that we've seen there. There's such a diverse group. And I think all the topics that are going to be covered from what I've seen so far are going to cater for those groups.
Yeah, great. Well, we've specifically designed the conference with a view to attracting everyone. So we want as many lawyers as possible to be there, and it has been brilliant to be seeing, as you say, decision makers, trainees, the whole in-house, the whole range, small firms, sole practitioners, all of the above, all in attendance, because, we're all using tech every day, we're all immersed in it, and we need to really make it, work for us. So that's been the specific aim. I'm just going to run through a bit of housekeeping first, which is basically to say that the event itself, as you'll see from the banner on the bottoms, on the 25th of June, it is free if you're a member of the Law Society of Scotland, which most of our audience is. It's a hybrid event, so it's in Edinburgh physically, in Dynamic Earth. We had a glorious day for it last year, weather-wise. So it's actually quite a good venue when it's nice weather, and it's also online. So we had about 500 delegates or so last year, 120 or so people in person, and the rest online. Really, really good engagement. And our hope is that we can get higher numbers than that. So if you're watching this, please sign up. As I say, the link is in the description of this live stream just now. And if you do sign up, please share it across your firm. One of the quotes that we did have was that from a previous delegate was that it's a type of event that every law firm in Scotland should have someone at, just to get to hear what's going on. And we'd really like to think that that is something that comes to pass. So we've got great speakers, as you would expect. Many of our sponsors who you're going to hear from today. We've got Christina Blacklaws, who's a former president of the Law Society of England and Wales, and chair of the Law Tech UK, I should say, doing the keynote speech. And then we've got all sorts of fantastic speakers covering the topics that you want to talk about. So AI inevitably features, but also practical tips, the type of daily things that can be used by lawyers to make a difference, as you say, Grant. So I think Stephen's going to be talking at the event. So maybe you'd just like to let us know before. I see Amy has joined us. Looking forward to introducing her soon from Lex Reception. But yes, Stephen is talking. You might want to just tell people who Stephen is and roughly what he's going to be talking about.
Yeah, so Stephen Hill's our managing director. Stephen's been, involved in this wonderful world of legal technology for, he won't like me saying this, but more than 19 years now. He's been in attendance at the event previously. I may be biased, but I feel that the content that Stephen provides on a regular basis for multiple conferences and events is always really, really valuable. Stephen spends I can tell you right now that he's actually out with a client, just spending time working with them to try and develop the software and understand how they're what they're doing from a really at the coal face, their working practices day to day. He's out there trying to understand how our product can actually help them day to day. It's really difficult to get him to stay in an office, like as in our office. He's constantly out, so about 50 or 60% of his time, and so yeah, he's very well versed. We're going to be joining in a group with Greg and Angus from Amicus. They're one of our key integration partners. And so on the day of the conference, we'll have a breakout session. And the topic itself, I think, is very beneficial. It's the practical use of tech. So it's talking about things like quick wins, popular solutions, and things to think about when adopting new technology. And that has actually been a focus for us internally since the beginning of the year, which is why we were quite keen to be involved in this conversation, particularly this topic of quick wins. We've been running things like webinars and for our existing clients and the firms that are using our software, showcasing exactly that. So it can just be small things that the firm can do that just helps you get through the day that little bit easier. Yeah, our integration with Amicus is a perfect example of that. So you're not jumping between multiple platforms to achieve a particular goal. So Stephen's very excited to dive into that along with Gregor, get into that conversation in the session on the day of the conference. Yeah, we're really looking forward to it.
Yeah, that's brilliant, Grant. Well, thank you for that. So I'm now going to introduce Amy into the conversation. Amy, good afternoon. How are you?
Well, thank you. How are you?
Good, thank you. Amy, meet Grant. I don't think you've spoken to each other directly before, maybe via email, but Grant from Novo, Amy from Lex Reception.
Hi, Amy.
So what I'm going to do straight off here, Amy, is actually play the video that you just sent over to me, because yes, I have to say it's. Grant prides himself on his videos as well, but I'll play this one.
It's a video off we're just about to have here.
Yeah, it is. So this will because Lex Reception, you're going to tell us all about it, is a new entrant or a new offering in the Scottish legal sector and UK wider legal sector. But just as a way of little introduction to that, and as you as a sponsor at the tech conference, let me just play this video. Now, I'm giving that top marks, but Grant, what's your honest
I'm
thoughts?
going to defend myself by saying, Amy, you've got a bigger budget than I've got for making this. Unless that was the Cairngorms, because that's as far as we're getting up a mountain. Then yeah, no, fantastic. Yeah, really interesting.
No, really good video. So, Amy, can you just tell us? First of all, thanks for joining us. But can you just tell us a bit more about Lex Reception, what its offering is, and about getting involved in the tech conference, please?
Yeah, sure. So in a nutshell, Lex Reception is a 24/7 legal reception service. That means we answer calls round the clock, but it also means we do appointment scheduling, managing client onboarding, and answering live chat in real time. So our goal at Lex Reception is to give lawyers more time. And we know that your time is precious. We know that there's lots of admin involved in being a lawyer. You have to wear a great many hats when you have your own firm or you're kind of in a smaller practice. So we want to be there to support every step of the way. We know that well-being, work-life balance, and all these things are emerging in the market even more now. And we're having great conversations about taking time back for you, as well as your much needed, I'm sure, and ever-increasing caseload. So Lex is just there to be the helping hand and the extension to your firm that you never knew you needed.
Yeah. Well, brilliant. Thanks. And in relation to the tech conference, so you're going to sponsor and you've got a particular approach around what you're doing. Do you want to just run us through some aspects of that, please?
Yeah, we're so excited. This is actually our first event in Scotland, and we're really excited to get to know people and just hear more about your firms and what you need, and just have some really open conversations about the law industry at large. I think it's just so fascinating to hear from other people, and that's kind of how we're structuring it. I think in a time where we're all working from anywhere, it's amazing to meet up when it matters. And so we'd love to just have some networking, open conversations to talk about your practice needs, you know, what's going on with you, what are the key trends in tech, like where are the gaps and where do we see kind of 2024 and beyond going for the industry, not just for tech, but also in the other solutions that you apply to your firm. So I'm very excited, and I'm sure I'm also going to drop in on a few of these talks because they just sound incredibly interesting. So it'd be great to meet everyone.
Yeah,
Amy,
fantastic.
Can I ask you a quick question before we move on? So we were talking, I was talking a little bit there about trying to provide firms with these sort of all-in-one solutions. So with your platform, for example, do you have the ability to sort of integrate with the likes of case management systems and like ours?
We do, yes, and we're already firm partners with the likes of Clio, to name but a few. But yeah, we've got many native integrations, and we also work with Zapier to make sure that you've got seamless integration with a wealth of products. I think it would be so challenging to have products that don't talk to each other, and that's a real focus for us. We're brand new in the UK market, but we're really excited about where integrations are going to go, and we're hoping to have even more partners in the future. But yeah, definitely making sure all your systems work seamlessly is a big priority for us.
Great.
Yeah, brilliant. And so Lex, I mean, could you just explain, it is an American company or it's an umbrella company and Lex is one of the brands within it?
So we've been operating in America for about 10 years now. And obviously the landscape in the US is quite different to the UK, but we just saw a bit of a gap in the UK for something that's legal specific. We know there's a few answering services out there, but our receptionists are trained for legal matters. So they're able to answer inquiries that you would typically get in your firm. And I don't think there's kind of something out there in the UK for that yet. And we just saw an opportunity to come over, given the success we've had in the US. So it's a little bit of an extension of our work in the US and broaching the new market, which is exciting.
Yeah, that's brilliant. And so at the tech conference, you've got a particular approach, which is because you're facilitating great conversations that you're essentially sponsoring the breakout rooms and the coffee breaks and that type of thing. So do you want to just give us a little lowdown on that? Yeah,
well, we'd love to kind of break it down into smaller topics and just hear more about, like, say, advancing tech, any challenges that you've got in your firm. We'll hopefully break it out and depending on the size of your firm or the practice area that you're in, just to get conversations going with people who are in your field and just kind of have a really invigorating conversations with people who are in your practice area or in your kind of sector. So hopefully it will be very exciting to get to know everybody. I wish I could attend all of them.
Yeah. Well, that's brilliant. So this is like live networking here, because basically you're going to introduce Gregor from Amicus. So Gregor, have I got senior business development manager? Have I got that? Is that the correct title?
That's it. Yeah, that's it.
That's it. Oh, brilliant. All done from memory. So Gregor, meet Amy. You obviously know Grant, you know me, but Amy, meet Gregor. So right. Yes, live networking on YouTube. It's the future.
It's a new thing.
So Gregor, how are you?
Yeah, very well, thanks. Very well. Yeah, all good.
How's life in Amicus? What's happening with you there? Or you
Amicus offering? Yeah, so we're busy as ever. Lots of interesting opportunities. It's the way these things work. Sometimes as firms come to you and they're looking for, they've heard of us for a number of years, and finally that point has come where they're looking to kind of implement something. And then there are other conversations which, just by the nature of the size of firms that rumble along for a very long time. But pleased that a couple of those are now coming to fruition as well. So lots of stuff going on, a few conferences, events with us, and obviously looking forward to this event next at the end of June.
Yeah. Now, great. So you're going to be speaking, Grant touched upon it earlier, but you and Stephen Hill from Novo are doing a talk on quick wins and productivity. Can you tell us just a little bit about what those that attend that are going to learn?
Yeah, so I think, the idea is to keep it very practical and exactly what you just said there. Let's not get into too much detail and technical stuff. Let's just get to some practical, quick wins in terms of what's out there, what's popular, what other people are using and can be implemented very quickly and easily without going through big, procurement exercises and lengthy, ins and outs of things. And then I suppose touching on not just the technology and the offerings that are out there, but I suppose some of the practical hints, tips, things we've picked up on actually implementing it. Yes, you've chosen to go with this product, this practice management system, or this product or piece of software, but how do you really get people to buy into that? We or Grant, others may be selling to a partner or a particular, the money laundering reporting officer or the cash room partner or whatever. But then you've got to get everybody in the firm to buy into using these things and properly using it so you maximize the benefit. So I think we'll delve into a little bit of that on sort of the mindset and some of the strategies that we've seen work well to really get people to embrace these changes, because that's what it is, buy into that and see the benefits longer term. So covering a few different things, I think, but hopefully, relevant and a little bit interesting to most people.
Yeah, no, absolutely. No, it sounds totally on point. I think loads of practitioners get absolutely lost in relation to trying to make tech, work for them. It's just a really difficult landscape to navigate if you're not in about it all the time. So I think getting guidance through all of this is really, really crucial. And quick wins as well, because I think you can get demoralized really quickly when you just think, I just can't learn this quick enough. I don't know what to do. I don't know where to start, and ultimately it's all about running good businesses and pleasing clients and everything, so all of that sounds absolutely brilliant. So Amy, in the discussions you have with law firms, and I don't know if there's a difference between in the States and in the UK. In fact, have you noticed any difference between the approach of firms in each of these jurisdictions?
There's a little bit of a change in landscape. I think the way that the US judicial system works in comparison with the UK makes for quite stark changes in what systems and tech they need and what availability they need. I mean, in the US in particular, 24/7 availability is kind of almost a prerequisite for being a lawyer, no matter your practice area. And for the UK, I see that being a little bit different. So the needs are not exactly the same. However, catching calls at particular times of the day is something that I think both kind of areas do share. I think in the UK, you might not want to be switched on 24/7, but maybe you want your lunch break covered or your early evening so you can be at home and be focused and single-minded about what you need to do after work. And that is incredibly valuable. And where you might not want to pick it up in the evening, like our US colleagues might, it'll be ready and waiting for you in the morning. And I think that's kind of a big trend, and particularly with tech. I think the US side of things with CleoCon and other amazing tech conferences out there, I think they're very happy to embrace technology, but there is always a little bit of reticence about putting multiple systems together and how that'll work for your practice and if it's going to actually, like say, slow things down or make things a little bit simpler. So perhaps the UK shares that reticence about having lots of different systems and how that's going to work for a tiny firm too. So I can see differences, but I can also see commonality, and lawyers are overworked and they want something to make things simpler, and sometimes it's a little bit hard to plug that all in together unless you get a little bit of help. So
Amy, do you think that firms are actually aware of the business that they're losing by not catching calls, just focusing on your product? Do you think they're aware?
Yeah.
Do they have the knowledge? Is that something you can help them understand?
Yeah, absolutely. I think there is an awareness, but not like the reality of it, if you know what I mean. I think if we looked at the statistics of how much, if someone maybe moves on within 4 rings of the phone to the next lawyer in the kind of index, but particularly in the US, I think some of those numbers and figures are quite stark. So it'd be nice to educate people on, if you aren't able to answer the call first time, like, are you losing that person permanently? Are you losing their referral base as an extension of that?
Yeah.
It's so important. And I definitely think there's a bit of an educational and awareness space that we definitely could push out there.
I just think about the generational changes, you know, in terms of like what the expectation of, say, like a 25-year-old who's trying to, you know, get, you know, contact a firm to get, you know, some conveyancing, and, you know, in terms of like, what are they not just moving on to the next firm, you know, if they don't get an answer? I think that's probably the case.
And I think there needs to be an importance pressed upon like excellent customer service in that instance as well, because they're probably comparing, like people are much more nimble and much more advanced, and they're picking 3 or 4 quotes to find what's best for them. And that includes customer service. And I think sometimes it can be easy to say, well, we've given you our best quote, but actually maybe there's something else in there that's going to win business. And that probably starts at your reception or at the first person who picks up the phone. And again, I think it's something that is overlooked, but it is incredibly important.
Yeah, it's almost trying to put a bit more focus on the client experience.
Yep, 100%. And that's in client onboarding, but it also is in the day-to-day calls too, especially like if a client calls for reassurance, like, are you able to answer the phone in, you know, every time in a way that's meaningful and, you know, keeps people reassured, especially during some of the most stressful times of people's lives. I think Lex really want to focus on stuff like that. Where we're able to deliver a bit of reassurance from the first call to final payment. And I definitely think people miss that out for sure.
I was just going to chip in there. I think we've seen a bit of a shift, actually, not a huge shift, but a bit of a shift from in our product, our offering, firms initially were viewing it, well, this makes our life easier, quicker, streamlined, etc. But there's a lot more of a shift now to firms coming and saying, oh, actually, this makes my client's life easier. And that sort of customer experience of being onboarded by a law firm very quickly, easily.
Yeah, the convenience factor, isn't it?
Convenience factor. But there's just a bit of a shift from lawyers now saying, I really see the value in this from our client success, client experience perspective as well. So I think there is a bit of a shift.
Definitely. And I think as we get to know user experience better and we get to know that, and we're embracing more digital first solutions, we do need to think about how the client interacts with that. I definitely know from our app point of view, that's a huge focus for our team to make sure that everything that the client is using is simple and easy to understand, interactive and intuitive. Because like you say, you want it to be easy for the people behind the screen and the people who are calling. So I can definitely see a shift in attitude as well when it comes to user experience overall digitally too.
Yeah, no, I mean, these are all key themes that are going to be covered in the conference, which is brilliant, but I'm a big believer in, as many are, obviously, that as I've just said, customer experience is everything, because it's very difficult for people to assess legal services. You know, they struggle, but they can assess the customer experience. And I do recall, Gregor, actually seeing Amicus as an offering in the Scottish legal sector and thinking, this is it, because the clunky paper that, you know, analog world that we lived in before that was really, really difficult, both internally for the firm, but more importantly for the clients. We're having to drive to an office with a passport that someone photocopied and didn't know what it was for, you know, and all of that. So so it shows you how things have moved on, because I don't know when Amicus was launched, maybe was that about like 2015 or something like that?
2016, I think, was when it was incorporated. I'm not sure how, obviously I wasn't involved.
Yeah.
Quite back then, but I'm not sure exactly when it kind of went to market, but certainly, yeah, not too far off that.
That was like putting you on the spot. Like when they say not to do that on radio, they go like, ask a question about something. You know, when was Amstrad incorporated? And you don't know that on The Apprentice, and you're like, you're out. But no, 2016, absolutely. So yeah, so customer experience, using tech well, integrations, applicable to all practices, small to large. These are all really crucial things. And we've got loads of content throughout the day in the conference that will touch upon these things. So we go from future gazing from AI into basically practicalities as well, you know, and blending it all and making it relevant to everyone. So that's great. Very much looking forward to seeing everyone on the day. Thank you very much. If there's anything you'd like to say before we head off, because it is a whistle-stop tour through the conference, and we're now, believe it or not, that's the first half hour gone. Is there anything you'd like to say before we head off? Amy?
just really excited to meet everybody. Please do stop by. There'll be several stations to kind of talk to people and start the networking. We'll also have lots of information about Lex on the day, and myself, I'll be there in person, so it'll be great to chat to everybody.
Brilliant, thanks. Grant?
I always go back to you don't know what you don't know, and I really do think this is a fantastic opportunity for everyone to come and see some of the existing and latest innovations. I think it's an incredibly beneficial event, and particularly it being free of charge. I think it opens it up to so many more firms and so many more individuals who can come along and really enjoy the day. We'll be there on the day, happy to have conversations. We're obviously part of the conference itself, but we'll be there to have a chat and talk about practicalities throughout the day. Really looking forward to it. It's always a great day.
That's brilliant, Grant. Thanks. And Gregor?
Yeah, probably just echoing what the others have said. Looking forward to it. It's always a great opportunity. Brilliant venue if you are there in person. And hopefully the weather is favourable and we get out onto that nice balcony area as well. But no, it's always a really good event. Interesting topics, relevant topics, good opportunity for us to speak to current clients, hopefully some prospects and to network and catch up with, likes of Grant, Novo. Obviously we integrate with them, so it's always good to catch up with these partners. And Amy, look forward to chatting to you and hearing a bit more about your solution. So yeah, just really looking forward to it. I think it'll be good fun.
Great stuff. Well, listen, thank you all so much for joining me. We're going to be joined by Kerry from Mitigo after this short video, and I have to say, we're going to play your video, Grant, so that your nose isn't out of joint and you're not unhappy. So don't worry. We will play a de novo video now. But thank you all, and enjoy the rest of your day. And I look forward to seeing you at the conference next month. Okay, take care.
Thanks, Ali.
Thank you.
We're with de novo. We're with de novo.
We're with de novo.
We're with de novo.
We're with de novo. We are.
We're with de novo.
We're with de novo.
We're with de novo.
We're with de novo. We are with de novo. We are with de novo.
Kerry, good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon to you, Ali. How are you?
I am well, thank you. And yourself?
I'm good. I was just enjoying Novo's video there. That's
Novo's video. Well, we've had a video off, as Grant called it, because I don't know if you saw, but Lex Reception had a very high, well, Grant thought a very high budget video to show, which was very good. But you know that you can see that later on. So, Kerry, thank you so much for joining me. For anyone who doesn't know who Kerry is, Kerry's Head of Business Development at Mitigo, Cybersecurity, a regular speaker at Law Society events. Mitigo are a Law Society strategic partner. And this year, although details still to be fully determined, but this year again, we're talking cybersecurity. So what's the big topics that are out there? What do you see coming up for this event for yourself?
What's really interesting, Ali, is I'm actually doing a webinar for the Law Society next week, and it's called "Why is Cybersecurity Still the Elephant in the Room?" And I think, I think that says everything that there is to say, really, because the fact is we're still seeing quite a large number of firms being attacked successfully, unfortunately for those firms in this area. And our job obviously is A, to work with those firms that get attacked, but B, really is to try and prevent these things from happening. And I think it's a good opportunity for us, again, to put out the message of, yes, some of the things that firms should be thinking about and doing in order to try and mitigate those risks. Are those risks changing? They are. Why are they changing? There's all manner of reasons. Obviously, AI, I see on the event itself, there's quite a lot going. I think I've heard you speak as well at one of the conferences last year about AI. And whilst we're not an AI firm, clearly, if you're going to engage with new forms of technology, then there are going to be some pitfalls around that, certainly from the cybersecurity space, because you're adding far more complexity and in some circumstances the unknown to your systems. So we'll certainly be talking a bit about that. So not actually what is AI and how you're going to use it, but how are you going to implement that safely. We'll certainly be talking about some more. We're seeing some different types of attacks. So yes, everybody's aware of the email stuff that you might get through clicking on a link, and and I think that we're all conscious of that. But we're now starting to see SEO poisoning a little bit more. What does that mean? You search for something on the internet, could be anything, and it comes up looking like the firm or a link to a firm that you think or maybe don't because you've done a Google search. And unfortunately, we're starting to see cyber criminals pay for those ads to come up, purporting to be someone else. You click on it, it downloads some Trojan software into systems. So I've kind of given some of it away, but it's stuff that we will be talking about. And of course, the government are proposing a new cyber code of practice, which I think a lot of firms are going to be keen to hear about. Whether that comes along as quickly as we thought it might do with the change, I say change in government, but let's be honest, it looks that way, doesn't it? But again, I think there's quite a lot that needs to be talked about in this, because there seems to be quite a big onus being put on this now, not just from people like the regulators or the ICO under GDPR, but now we're starting to see the government put a little bit more weight behind it to say, this is some of the senior leaders need to think about. So lots to talk about. I think I'm half an hour on the day, so it'll have to be interesting and succinct, but I think with all things Law Society of Scotland, there's always a good attendance. We always get some good questions out the back of it, and so we do enjoy coming along to these things and speaking as well.
Yeah, no, that's brilliant, Kerry. I mean, it strikes me, well, being a step removed from it all now, but the complexity of the threats that law firms face, from small firms across the entire legal landscape, the complexity of it now, you see it's in the media daily. There's some new type of attack or more sophisticated software available, and it's really pretty challenging.
Yeah, it is challenging, and I think sometimes firms don't know what to do for the best, because there's a lot of information coming at them from all different angles. People saying to them, you should be doing more, or IT firms saying you need to buy this piece of kit because it's better. But you're absolutely right. The legal sector has digitized a lot more than it was in the past, and we're far more reliant on it also because of the way COVID has made us work, if you like.
Yeah.
There's a lot of messages, and hopefully what we'll try and do, and hopefully what we've already succeeded in doing, is try to cut through some of that to sort of say, look, focus on these things, because these things are the things that are important.
Yeah.
You can't do everything, but you can do quite a lot, and if you focus on the right things, you'll mitigate a lot of risk.
Well, I've seen a number of your talks, and they're always very both informative and entertaining, and there's a lot of value in them. So I look forward to hearing an update on them, and I genuinely mean that. Now, I don't know how long you've got, Kerry. I'm going to introduce Warren. I don't know if you know Warren Wonder from LawWare, but
yeah, from LawWare, of course I do.
Yes, you do. You know each other.
Hey, Warren.
Hi, Warren.
Hello, everyone. How are we all doing?
All good, thank you.
All good.
All good. Yourself?
Good. Yes, very good. Very good. I'm away in Edinburgh at the moment, and the best thing about it is the sun's out and it's hot, and you can go into Princes Street Gardens and you can actually get some warmth. So very, very happy to be here.
Yeah, brilliant. Well, I actually think the weather has to even improve over the next few days. So compared to biblical rainstorms, that's always a step in the right direction.
Well, from your mouth to the gods of the weather would be great. And I do know Kerry quite well because, interestingly, I live in Manchester, and Mitigo's offices are about 1.5 miles from where I live. And I went over to see them not so long ago, and literally cycled there and took the bike and got to meet the guys there. And they're brilliant on the security side of things. So very pleased to see them at the event and to be sharing that stage with them.
Thanks, Ron. Yeah, agreed. And as Warren says, we work with quite a lot of their clients. Indeed, we've just spoken with one this morning about ways in which we can work together to help them as well. So yeah, cool. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, see Warren come over in his cycling shorts.
Don't create any images for anybody. But, I do have the Manchester umbrella that I brought up to Edinburgh, because when I arrived on Sunday, it was a deluge. I thought I was going to have to build an ark, but fortunately, it blew over and the sun came out. So, but we're used to that in Manchester. Yeah,
brilliant. So, Warren, you're going to be joining the conference this year, which is great, and maybe you could just give us a little outline or rundown as to what you're going to be doing on the day, please.
Yeah, I'm very excited to be joining the conference, because it's the first time we've been there. We're exhibiting at the conference as well, so we'll be very open to conversations with people. But the breakout session that I'll be hosting is mainly about, for me, what good technology should be doing for you, what good technology looks like in the future, but I'd like to make it very, very conversational, because for me, tech people don't have all the answers and don't understand the nuances of what lawyers do. And lawyers have great ideas, understand the pain points, and I'd like to put a magic wand in every lawyer in the room's hand and say, if you had a magic wand, what solutions would you like to see? What would you want to help your practice, help the profession, and just have a very engaging, dynamic discussion about what good ideas are out there. There's some brilliant people attending the conference, from technical people to lawyers at all different levels. And I just have this hunch that there's a great idea out there, or some real pain points that people are feeling, want to talk about, that technology can solve by bringing together the multitude of new things that we're seeing nowadays. And I'd like to really host that conversation and encourage it.
Yeah. So that sounds brilliant. So you're speaking later in the morning. So Kerry, you're speaking in the morning, late morning as well. Then it's on to the breakout rooms. Is that correct? Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I'm about 11:30, I think. Yeah.
Yeah. So you're speaking at 11:30, and Warren, you speak just before 12 till about 1:45. Is that correct?
Yes, that's right.
Yeah, brilliant. So you're looking for ideas, combination of ideas and pain points, and seeing which of those you can look to solve.
Yes, I think an open discussion about where technology's at, what it can be used to do better, and what ideas people have to solve that. And I'd like to create a little bit of momentum before the event. I'm looking at putting a form together that we're going to circulate through our social media channels, and probably in the Law Society's journal as well. We have some space in there. And to our clients, we've got hundreds of LawWare users who are using, who I can engage with quite quickly to get their ideas. So I'd hope to bring some ideas to the table as well, but I'd like it to be very conversational and very engaging.
Yeah, I think being practical is really, really important, because I think you mentioned earlier in this live stream that, you know, we're trying to attract lawyers of all types, no barriers, no need for deep technology knowledge. At the same time, if you've got a lot of that, we hope there's enough in the agenda for you to go into to more advanced topics. But I think people can get lost, or busy lawyers can get lost. If you're a family lawyer, you want to be a family lawyer. You don't necessarily want to be spending a lot of time on tech. So I think anything that helps people in a practical sense is really, really important. And I also think, as you say, Warren, about ideas, it's the lawyers that know the pain points of their work. You know, it's the lawyers that are able to identify for technologists where the issues are, you know, and bringing the two sides of the coin together that really, you know, bring the opportunities.
I think that's absolutely right. And I think it's about keeping it simple and real. We're just human beings at the end of the day who aren't these big, sophisticated technical brains. We just want things to work well and try and harness the most of what's out there, really, and to try and understand how to do that. So simplicity is the key.
Okay, brilliant. So you're both going to be there on the day speaking, and you both have stands, I'm presuming, at the conference and be about generally. Are there any other people from Mitigo coming, Kerry? Or is it? I don't mean just yourself. I don't mean that, but do you know what I mean? Is it you, or are there others coming too?
I think we've got some people. Some people will know Damien Wasey. He's quite well known, certainly within the legal fraternity. So he'll be with me. I believe we've got a stand there, and we'll be spending the day. As I say, because they're well attended. We do get some good conversations. I know Novo were just on the chat a minute ago. I'm wondering whether they've got their big golf simulator at this next one, because that was a hit last year at the big conference.
Yeah, it was. I don't think the golf is featuring. Maybe annual conference. I don't know. But you can. I mean, there's some. You can bring a golf club, but there's some grass round about Dynamic Earth if you want to. You can have a shot with a real golf ball.
Pretty dreadful. I'm best sticking to the simulator, I think, for everybody's safety.
But yeah, so there's going to be lots of activity on the day. There's going to be talks throughout the day, as I say, all different levels, breakout rooms, different formats, sponsors attending. Got a great venue for it for Dynamic Earth. So all very much looking forward to it, and thank you both, obviously, for being sponsors and engaging with me on this. Trying something with a live stream just in advance, just to be a little bit different to set things up, because often it's just a case of turning up on the day and you don't really know what's involved. So I'm hoping that this helps inform people. I'm hoping that we get some more sign-ups in terms of attendance. So before we wrap up, is there anything else you'd like to say before we head off?
Well, I got one thing, and I think Warren will probably say the same thing. I like the fact that what Warren was saying, look, let's get a conversation going about things. I know when I'm doing my session, I'm probably going to be speaking more at people. But look, we are there for the day, as Warren will be there for the day. And come and have a chat with us. We don't bite, and if you've got some questions, there's no such thing as a silly question, certainly in what we do. Come and engage with us. Come and have a drink, and I don't know, we've got some free pens and some free giveaways as well. So come over and have a chat. We're a friendly bunch.
Yeah, I'll absolutely echo that as well, and say the same thing. The last time I was at Dynamic Earth was in December. We had our Works Christmas party there. It was a big do, so I'll be seeing a completely different side of it. But it's a great choice of venue, Ali. It's really bright and open. I think it creates a really good space for that kind of modern conversation, and that's what it's about. It's about coming along, learning something and taking something away in your goodie bag that you can really use in practice, but also networking and conversation as well. Yeah,
well, that's great. It's a great note to end on, because it was about 26, 27 degrees, if you can remember, Kerry, last year. It was absolutely boiling hot in Edinburgh, but the venue actually lent itself pretty well to that, because there's a nice big balcony outside and we could get outside. There's plenty of light and whatever. And I think the fact that you're both focused on conversations, which is actually something that one of our other sponsors, Lex Reception, is very focused on. We're really trying to be collaborative, just have open conversations, chat away, bring your problems along, in terms of what's happening in your practice, and get some assistance, So we're really looking to create a community, a collaborative space. So you've both nailed it with your closing comments there. So thank you both very much. I look forward to seeing you next month, if not before. Thank you for joining me today on the live stream. And I'm now going to play the promo video from the Law Society, just to hopefully entice a few more sign-ups for those who watch this one catch up. So enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you very much. And I'll hopefully speak to you both soon. Take care.
Brilliant. Thanks, Ali. Good to see you, Kerry.
Bye-bye. How do we practically get started in relation to this and make the change? And it is about change management. It's implementation of technology, but it's about people.
A lot of lawyers have said to me, well, this makes us redundant. I mean, very far from makes lawyers redundant. It'll make lawyers much more necessary.
And the IBM definition of automation is using technology to minimise human input. Technology will allow them to spend more time doing the client relationships and the stuff they actually went to law school to do.
It's
if you've got one law firm that is innovative, they're using automation, they're exciting to work with, and one law firm that says, no, I'm not going to do that because it can reduce my billable hour, you're going to choose the particular one on the left, aren't you? So you've got to think about staying competitive.
For me, the big thing is about opportunity. I think there's lots of opportunity out there. We shouldn't be fearful of what's going on. Instead, we should be embracing change.
So there we go. One final plug from me to say to anyone who hasn't signed up thus far, please do so for the Legal Technology Conference. It's an open, inclusive event. We really would hope to get everyone along from all sorts of different firms and different knowledge perspectives and have a great day. So thanks to everyone that's joined me, all of the sponsors, thank you for their support. Thanks to the Law Society in relation to partnering for the forthcoming tech conference. And I look forward to seeing you there in person or virtually on the day. So thanks very much. Take care now. Bye-bye.